Hello. So I can't believe that I forgot to say this in the video about hearing from God, but one of the huge ways that we can hear from God or do hear from God, if you're listening in this way, is through nature. Or at least this is a way that I hear from God all the time. And so I can't believe I forgot to say anything about it. Um, One of the things that I wanted to say was that we are creatures who are designed for worship. And when we find out and kind of absorb the reality of who God is, it causes us to feel worshipful of Him. When we are struck by the truth of who He is, our the intent, the response of our heart is to just bow down and worship Him. So for me, this has happened quite often whenever I have been learning something from science, something from the physical world around us. And the more I learn, the more in awe of Him I am. I've never been one of these people that feels that science disproves God at all. It's quite the opposite. I feel like when we're looking at science, it's like we're finding out a facet of God, and it's just incredible. It's awe-inspiring, it creates in me a desire for worship of Him, and it's a thoroughly enjoyable experience. And I don't think it's an accident that the word science means knowledge. I think science just leads us in knowledge and understanding of God. But anyway, it's a thrill for me. It's a thrilling byproduct of just learning about it. And the first time that I experienced this to a degree that struck me for years to come was in college. I was doing a concentration in entomology. That's the study of bugs. And for some reason, we were dissecting a honeybee. I was taking a honeybee class, and we were dissecting the thorax of the honeybee in particular because we were learning something about that region. And if you don't know anything about insects, that central part of all insects is what houses the musculature for all six legs and 2 to 4 wings of an insect. And so you have all that movement of an insect that's housed in that one region of that insect. So that one region of the insect is just packed with all this musculature that's fine-tuned to do all these things like crawl or fly and to fly in certain ways. Certain wings go one way, the other wings go the other way, and it's incredible. And we were dissecting it, and I was looking at it under the microscope that we were looking at it, and I was just struck with awe over the detail of this. Another situation similar was when we were in identifying insects. One of the hardest ones for me to identify were the ones where we had to find out the detail of the veins on the wings of the flies in particular. Every vein and every cell in between all the veins has a little identifying code or mark or name depending on what part of the wing it's on. And I had no idea that to this level of detail that the each species had such exactness within it that you could identify it based on how the vein was laid out. And this is true for all the different species. And I thought, this is incredible, and no one sees this. We don't sit around looking for this, but it's there. And I was in awe over the detail and the specificity with which this replicates, and it was incredible and a worshipful experience for me. And another situation that evoked similar worship from me was one of my favorite psychology classes. My major was psychology. One of my favorite my hands down favorite psychology class was called Sensation and Perception, which was all about the neuroscience behind all of your senses, how the neurons and how they function, your nerves and your eyes, and everything that goes into how you perceive and sense things in the physical world. And it was incredible. I just loved that class. I was completely fascinated by it, and couldn't believe how just something as simple as the way we see color, all the detail that goes into that. And it was incredible. And the more I learned, the more I was just in awe over how everything works so well together. And Anyway, we are creatures that are designed for worship, and the more we learn about God and the more we become humbled by who He is, that goes into prayer, because one of the wonderful things that blesses God when we pray is when we worship Him in that way. For some people, it's just centered around singing, and that's fun. I love singing, but some people don't love it so much. But if you're a person who enjoys, who feels worshipful of God in some other way, then that's something to take into account and just grab onto that and go for that and explore that in a prayerful way, thanking God for who He is and what He's done. And that's Him revealing Himself to you so that you can worship Him. And it's just an awesome, incredible, wonderful experience. In the next video, I'm going to talk about something similar about how He reveals and guides us also through nature and maybe science and that kind of thing. Thank you.